Hi, Felix. We are San Jose State students, so we have a assignment to like interview a successful engineer in the industry. So that's why we choose you. So can you introduction yourself first?
Yeah, sure. I can give a brief background and introduction. My name is Felix. Hello, everyone. I've been working on at the Amazon for like half a year. I am currently working primarily on recommendation system. And yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Mainly focusing on the Amazon Prime and half for Alexa. Yes.
Wow, sounds great. So we have a couple questions like as a student we cannot like know the real the workspace in the industry. So we have some question to ask you. So maybe the first question is, can you describe your current work as a machine learning engineer and what kind of machine learning is like you most use and more like most useful?
Yeah, sure. So to Amazon, I'm on a team that optimize the product recommendation for the main shopping experience. So if you guys use the Amazon Prime, so you probably know the shopping experience is pretty important. We are actually constantly to iterating on models that do the prediction on which items might interest you based on your browsing patterns. Also the purchase history and some like similar user behavior. Yeah, I can give a brief example. So we recently launched an improved model that can better handle the like the seasonal trends. So let's think about how the shopping behavior changes dramatically during the Prime Day or holiday seasons. So our previous model will like sometimes get thrown off by some like sudden stuff, but the new approach adapts, much more quickly.
Whoa.
So
Well, so like you provided several examples. So I the next question is what do you think the most challenging things in those example?
um, yeah, good question. I think the biggest challenge I have faced is I would say the gap between the benchmark data sets and the massive real world data. So I think back to college, we all had like really clean data set for us to do
Yes.
some manipulation. But actually back to industry level, you know, um, you barely can get the really clean data set. The most of the time you just get the massive real world data. Yeah, I can also give an example for that. Last quarters, we were working on like improving some like search relevance for a specific like product category. So the training data was kind of mess. It has like inconsistent labeling, towns of the edge cases, and lots of like
Mhm.
missing values, for example. So we spend almost like 80% of our time just cleaning and preparing the data before we would start the modeling work. Yes, that's I think that's one. And I think the another major challenge is kind of like, sometimes you need to explain how the model made these decisions to the
Uh,
stakeholders, which we call. Because like some stakeholders, they don't have a really solid ML background. I
mhm.
remember like, we had a meeting with my with our VP, just he's keep asking like, why did this model recommend this product to this customer? And we're, trying our best to explain the interplay of the hundreds of features. For example, in a gradients-based decision tree, the really easiest one. But it's not actually not that easy in our like 30 minutes meeting with like some like non-tech guys. So I think that's also another challenge I faced. So yeah, it's not just like pure tech, challenges. It's just like how you do the communication with your customer and your um, you know, uh, non-tech guys. Yes.
Whoa, it sounds tough.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question is like, what is the most different thing between the school and industry? Maybe you can from the stress or the tempo or different point of view to explain it.
Sure. Yeah, for the difference, I think I mean for my experience, just like, one of the biggest difference between the school and the industry, just like nobody really cares about the model accuracy in isolations. We're more on the business side. We're more on the business impact. So I remember when I was in my school or back to my college, I just, if there's a 2% of improvement in my model accuracy, I was so happy for that. And, I just keep doing like do the improvement. But actually, the first project I think when I work in Amazon, so I
Mm-hmm.
actually have to improve model accuracy by 3%, but it actually had zero effect on the business side, on the business matrix we
Oh.
care about. So like the conversion rate and the revenue, so there's no benefit for that. And my manager actually decided, not to just deploy it because like, the complexity is increasing, but it's totally not worth to do that without, because like it cannot be in any business improvement. And also in industry, you can perfectly to craft some models in just, one tiny part of the massive system. But I learned, the hardest way is just like, uh, my improved model start to causing some like timeout issue in the, for example, in our recommendation service, because it was like computationally too heavier than some like previous versions. So
Mm.
we had to go back and optimize the inference time, which is not something I ever worry about, in my school project. So yeah, I think that's the difference I can, come
Oh.
up in my mind. Yes.
I see. Thank you very much. So, my classmate also have some question for you. That is Jeff. So Jeff, can you continue the question?
Okay, so next question is about overfitting. How do you handle model overfitting in practice? Do you have preferred techniques or tool to avoid it?
Yeah. Yes. I do have that. Even though I don't have that much experience on like handling, overfitting issue,
Mhm.
but actually in practice, personally for me, I mean, I found the cross validation is probably the most often method I ever use. So for example, like I think for almost our recommendation project, we use the time-based splitting rather than the random splitting, right? So training on um, let's say January to March data, and we are doing the validation to validate it on the April data. So the better how to say this better mimics actually better mimics how the model will actually be used in the production. So we have like some like funny situations. It's just like, oh, where the model like look amazing in testing, but it's completely flopped in production. So it kind of turns out to, we accidentally to include some like information in the features that wouldn't be available at, prediction time. So this is really I think, I get these things back to college. It just like it's really classic or really common cases for the data leak, if you guys heard about it. So but now we have like the whole checklist so we can go through before the deployment to catch these issues. So yes, the cross validation um and yeah, I think there's another one um yeah, I mean, it's a general concept. It's called like ensemble method. So for like a classification project.
Mhm.
So yeah, we used to find like, okay, maybe there's simple average of prediction from, let's say, like three different model architect, um like deep neural network, uh logistic regression, for sure. And some like other gradient-based training, for example. So it actually outperformed any like single models, probably about like 50%, 5% to 10%. So yeah, so this diversity of the approaches actually help us to preventing the overfittings. So in any patterns, I think. But yeah, it just for my experience because I am not really on the model set, so I only heard about like what the science team did, but I also like did some helps on that. So yeah, just I think that's really impressive for me. Like I was thinking about okay, ensemble method, cross validation, pretty basic. I don't think we're gonna use it in the industry, but yeah, it's totally opposite. So we use it a lot for that.
Okay, thank you. And we have one more question is about the job. So, do you have any advice for students to prepare to face the job, to find a job? Because we heard that uh, it, right now it's pretty hard to find an internship,
Mhm.
and I heard you have been like find one year for a job, and so how do you get the Amazon this your job in Amazon?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think the first I don't want to like do some cliche. I just want to say lucky is definitely like one part of it. So like honestly, there's so many people like they're really solid, their skill set, their coding skill. Um yeah, you know, but anyway, so we still need to practice. So I totally understand the situations right now. Personally for me, I think um, for now, I mean, it's better for you guys to find an internship, so to do some real world project, in the real industry. So I think that's the most important part. Um, but like for now, I mean, I understand it's also competitive to get an internship, like even like like tech company, even it's like a small size company, it's hard to get in. So if you're still in school and you still want to, do the practice to have some like, good experience on your resume, I think it's better to, start to build some like um end-to-end project. So for machine learning, as an example, don't just train the models, on the Hugging Face. Don't just like, just purely just, okay, so I read the paper, I know how this going behind, and that's it. I think it's better, you need to make your hands dirty and actually to, really code them and deploy them into some like applications. Even though they're really, they're maybe they're really simple, like the
Mm.
example I just gave, maybe just really basic. Let's see if there's an example. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an example right here, but like, yeah, even though it's pretty simple model, just try your best to code it and to deploy it in your local. And it actually helped me a lot, not just in school and also in industry. So, and also the second, just do some like side projects if you got time. So, use your machine learning model or there's full stack even though you can do you can um do like setting some data pipelines, so design your APIs, and also for machine learning you can do some like model serialization. So yes, so also for ML especially, or for let's say for industry, especially for the job, I think you need to get really familiar with some like operation stuff. For example, the version control, how to use the gate. I think it's really basic, I know, but it's really helpful because I think the first day I didn't because I don't usually use that, but like I think my manager was like, oh, you had to like guess really familiar with this version control stuff. And also you need to know there's something like what's the working flow for some models, and what is the, let's say like for machine learning, what's the how to adjust like the bias and the ways where, even though it's good to have some like practice on the model deployment, model training, and cloud development, like for example like AWS. Yes. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, it just so I think the best part about like preparing right now is probably you need to make your personal projects on your resume. You need to know um how to deploy it like end to end. So from the start to the end, you know every details. So when the interviewer asking you this like project, you're really confident, I have enough confidence in how to, tell you about this. I think that's gonna really impressive the interviewer. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I mean, there's so many people. I know there's so many people on the market, and you have to, put 100% of your energy on that. So yes, try your best.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything you want to speak, Andrew?
Oh, thank you for your time, and hope we can get a job as like you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I think our interview is to here, and again, thank you for your time and your
We
experience.
appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.